So I just picked up my order from my local meat dealer. Shout out to Marvy Hole Farms. And I had a hankering for a really good roast beef sandwich. So I thought I'd make a roast beef dipper. Okay, start this recipe off. We're gonna prepare the meat. So first things first, we're gonna slather it with a bunch of mustard. Now I'm gonna be cooking this reverse sear, which means I'm gonna cook it in an oven, at super low temperature, and then I'm gonna let it rest, and then I'm gonna sear it off on a super hot griddle. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I think that gives you the best results. And then we're gonna cover it in salt. Well, we're gonna give it a healthy dosing of salt. Also, something to note, before I started covering this in mustard, and before I cook it, I noticed that the grain of this meat is running like this, which is perfect because when we come back and take our slices, we're going to be cutting it super thin, straight across like this. Don't be scared to put a lot of salt on this, because as again, we're going to be cutting it like that, and you're only going to be getting a little bit of salt on each of these slices. So it's pretty hard to oversalt this actually. As you can see, I did have a little bit of silver skin on the bottom there, but it's so thin that I'm not worried about it at all. Once you got it all seasoned up, you want to slap it on a roasting tray. You just want to get a little bit of water and you just want to tip it in the bottom of it, but you don't want too much. You want just enough to make a thin layer over the bottom of the pan. What's that going to do? So when this starts cooking and it starts releasing some of the juices, it's going to drop to the bottom of the pan and it's not going to burn. The water's going to stop it burning because we want to preserve that for later on, and we're going to make a nice little dipping gravy out of that, which is the whole point of the actual dish. So once you got it like this, you're going to put it into a preheated oven at 100 degrees Celsius and cook it till it reaches around 52 degrees Celsius internally. Then we'll come back. All right, once your meat has reached the desired temperature you're looking for, you want to tent it with some foil, just like that, and let it rest. Okay, so my meat has been resting for quite some time now. I can actually touch it with my hands. So now I'm going to sear this off, but I'm going to go outside and do this because if I do it inside, I'm going to set my smoke alarm off again. And my neighbours might be getting a bit worried about me. So my griddle's preheated, bit of oil down, and time to sear. So you want to sear it all over. Make sure you get the edges and the ends. Once you've got a good colour on all sides of your piece of meat there, you want to remove it to a plate. And now let's start working on this little dipping sauce. All of the juices that were in the bottom of this pan, you want to pour into a pot, followed by a bit of beef stock. Homemade preferred, but I'm cheating today and using some store-bought stuff. Alright, as we bring that up to the boil, we'll chuck in a few dried mushrooms. Boost that umami flavour up just a little bit. So my stock's just coming up to a simmer. I'm going to add just a little bit of white wine vinegar. Just a splash in. We'll give that a mix in and we'll give it a taste. Alright, once you've got it seasoned up and your vinegar and your salt levels where you want them, it's ready to use. Okay, next we're going to sort out some onions. So I'm going to add a little bit of oil to a pan and then bung in the onions. I had a lot of little different types of onions floating around. I think I had some shallots, some small yellow onion, and some red onion. So I chopped them all up and they're all going in. Okay, we're also going to add in some salt at this stage. So we're just looking down and saute these down a little bit. We don't want to caramelize them too soft or turn them into a jam or anything like that. We want somewhere in between. So my onions are just about there. So I've just raked them to the side. I'm going to add a little bit more oil to the pan and then I'm going to add in some garlic. So we're just going to let the garlic toast off in that oil there for about a minute or so before we mix it into the rest of the garlic. Okay, so it's been about a minute that I've had the garlic in there for. Now we're just going to mix it through. And we're just going to cook these onions down a little bit longer. If you're getting too much fond build up on the bottom of your pan, which mine's not really yet, but if it's getting stuck and you can't get it up, just add a little bit of water to the pan just to make sure nothing burns on the bottom there. Okay, the onions are pretty much where I want them at there. So at this point, I just got a little bit there of fond there that it won't come up. So I'm just going to add just a touch of water, scrape all that goodness up. Now I want to do that before I add the balsamic vinegar because the balsamic vinegar is sweet and has some sugar and that'll stick quite quickly. So I just want to make sure everything's up, just like that. Now I'm going to add in just a little bit of balsamic cream just to bring a little bit of sweetness and tang to this dish. So we'll give that a mix in. Okay, now we'll remove that to a bowl. So we'll go ahead, don't worry about washing your pan out, just add a little bit more oil to it. And we're going to go straight in with some capsicum. Or bell pepper, depends on where you live in the world. So we just want to cook these off for a little bit too. So you could use any colour capsicum you want. I mean, you could even use green if that's your jam, but I kind of like the red ones. And really don't like the green ones. So you can also use yellow, but I got red today. Don't forget to add a little bit of salt into the mix. So I've got to film it, but I took the capsicum out of the pan and mixed them in with the onions. Now I'm just going to give this a little taste for seasoning. That tastes pretty good to me. We'll set this aside until we're ready to use it. Okay, now we're going to whip up a quick bread dough. So in the bowl of the stand mixer, gonna add some water, some salt and some sugar. Got some flour here, and we're gonna crumble in some fresh yeast. You can also use a packet of dry instant yeast if that's what you have. All right, now we close it up and get the mixing. Once your dough's finished mixing, you wanna scrape it down off the dough hook and get it out onto your work surface. All right, what you just wanna get your dough ball into a nice smooth little bowl like that. Then get your bowl that you just mixed it in. Give it a little oil. And scrape your dough ball up. Plop it in. And because I'm running just a little bit behind today, I'm going to be covering it in some plastic wrap. It helps it rise a little bit quicker. We're going to let that double in size. My dough's doubled in size. Now we're going to weigh it. As we take it out the bowl, degas it at the same time. Place my scale under the bowl, tear it out, and plop it back in. I'm going to divide this into 6 equal balls. Once you got your dough portioned out, we're going to roll them into baguette shape. Little long bits of bread. So you just want to stretch it out into a rectangle shape to start with. Doesn't really matter if you tear it a little bit, because now we're going to roll it. So you just want to go over, you want to push it over, and then just make sure it pinches, and you keep a bit of tightness in it. And you want to roll this up into a nice tight little log. Now it is a little bit sticky to work with, but don't worry about that. If you need to, use a little bit of flour, but try not to use too much. Once you got it rolled up, just go ahead and pinch the seams, make sure it's all sealed up. Even though I'm making this into a baguette shape, I don't want to taper the edges. I want them nice and flat on the edges, because I prefer that with this type of sandwich. So I just want to flatten it out a little bit, and then flip it over, give it one last final shape up, make sure it looks nice and even. Now I have my little baking dish here, and I'm going to give it a little spray with some oil, but I'm going to do that over the sink because, you know, holes. Then we just want to get a little bench scraper, coax the dough off of the bench, then onto the lightly greased bread dish, pan, thingy, whatever you want to call it I got here. Place it on top, just flatten it out a little bit more, and go ahead and put the rest of them on. Okay, once you got them all right out, you want to cover them with a clean tea towel. Another thing to note, you don't want to be taking too long to roll these out, because as you can see, the first ones that I did are already starting to puff up, which is the next step. We're just going to let these rise a little bit more. Maybe another 30 minutes or so, and we should be ready to roll. After 30 minutes, they've puffed up a little bit. Now we're just going to hit them with a bit of an egg wash here, give them that nice golden color on top when we bake them. Once you got them all egg washed, you just want to get a serrated knife, or if you're got a razor, you could also use that, I guess, but I don't, so I've got a serrated knife. You just want to go ahead and score your bread. That way you don't get any weird blowout punctures as the bread cooks. Now you want to bang this into a 200 degrees Celsius preheated oven until they're cooked. My bread's cooked, and I did make a few mistakes. I shouldn't have put an egg wash on them. Now I think about it, I should have squirted them with water. They don't look too great, but it's all on the taste that counts, right? All right, now it's time to slice this meat up. Now you want to cut it against the grain, and you want it nice thin slices. Obviously the end pieces are going to be cooked more than the center pieces, but just a couple of slices in, time to get a taste of this. This is some tasty, tender meat, I tell you. Woo, that is some good eating. And with my dishwasher hitting full stride in the background, it's time to build this sandwich. I'm thinking we're going to slice it down lengthways like this. Be careful not to slice my hand as well. And we don't want to cut it all the way through, but we want to cut it like that. Then you could build this any way you want. You could butter it, you could put mayonnaise on it if you want. You could also put some cheese in there if you really wanted to, but for me, a little smear of mustard is going to do just fine. Also, I wouldn't really want to toast this thing because I don't think it needs to be. For me, I want full soppage on that little sauce I made up. Then we go in with a bit of our capsicum and onion mixture. And then, in my opinion, we need a healthy amount of roast beef in there. However you build this sandwich is completely up to you. You wouldn't even have to put the capsicum and onion in there. You could just go straight roast beef. Alright, once you've finished putting a healthy amount of roast beef in there, it's ready to dip and eat. I must say, the intro I just made, it went way too long. I can't wait to tuck into this sandwich. After first impressions, the meat could really do with a bit of a salt brine. The salinity level's just a little low. Even though I use a shopboard stock for this, just need to bring it up a little more. But I must say, this beef that I get from my local dealer is absolutely amazing. So soft and tender and super flavorful. Now let me enjoy this in peace. Oh, I almost forgot. Don't forget to like and subscribe.